Welcome. In this video, we're going to take a look at checklists inside of Dalux FM. Checklists are an intuitive way of executing and documenting daily work routines, building inspections, statutory maintenance and inspections on, for instance, fire equipment, ventilation, elevators, and much more. The video contains chapters, so please skip to whichever one you want. Let's get started. First, we're going to take a look at the setup of a checklist. To use checklists, first we have to make a checklist template. To do that, go to Settings, select Operation and Maintenance, and then Checklist Templates. Here you can see the checklist templates that are within our system. To add a checklist template, click Add, and then Create New. First we have to name our checklist. In this example, we're going to use one called Elevator Car Inspection, and click OK. Now we have to set up our checklist. To do that, select Fields from the menu on the left, and then drag them over to the right in either Header or Data fields. The main difference is that the header is main data of our checklist and cannot be enriched with extra data, while in Data fields you can add comments, pictures, documents, and create work orders directly on the data fields. For now, let's start with a header here and name it General Info and click OK. Now we have a header. Let's drag over a text field and name it Name of Inspector. Let's put this as required. The next field could be a date. And for now, let's keep the header like this. We are now ready to make data fields. Let's start with a header and call it Control Points. And then a subheading and name it Inside the Car. We can then do another subheading Outside the Car. The first field that we want is a list field. We can drag that over here, like so, and call it Ensure the doors can open freely. We can add list values that can be selected on the list, like so. We can make it required, and we can also put on a required image. We can add a default value and a help text. The help text is to help inform the person who's filling out the checklist on what's required in the field. But for now, let's click OK. Now this field we actually want placed under this subheading. To do that, drag it and let go of it. That's how easy it is to rearrange the fields in a checklist. The next field I need is almost the same as this one, so I can click the three dots and select Duplicate. Look for signs of damage, and I'll continue to add the fields down in my checklist. Now I have set up my checklist. I have added fields with both headings and subheadings. Now I've also added a red, yellow, green field that's called Overall Condition, which is mandatory and requires an image. As the last thing, I'm going to make a signature with a date and time and a signature. Like so. So now we have the main header data up here, the data fields, and the signature. We can drag to rearrange. Now that we're ready, let's click Save. And now you can see that Elevator Car Inspection is on the list, and that the version is version 1. If we then in the future need to do changes to this checklist template, simply just click it and select Edit, if we want another field, we could add one called elevator type, and then add list values. Like so, and then click Save. Now it is version 2, and if we then want to see what has been changed, we can open it up and select Show History, and then browse through old versions on the left hand side and the current template on the right hand side. You can also see who has been editing and when. Now let's see the checklist into action. First, we're going to take an example on the mobile device. Now we're on the mobile device. This is a work order called Elevator Car Inspection. To add a checklist to the work order, go to the green arrow here and select Add Checklist. Now we can see the list of checklist templates that we have in our system, and this is the one we created before. Simply click it, and now you can see that our work order has now a checklist on it. To fill out the checklist, simply click it, and now we're inside of the checklist. A checklist can be filled out completely now, or can be filled out partially and then returned to both on mobile devices and on the web. Let's try and fill out our checklist. And the date. Then we have to select elevator type. This could be hydraulic. And now we get our data fields. These function a bit differently than the ones in the header. I can start out by selecting my answer, but if I want to add more, I simply click the arrow, and then I can add a comment. Yes, but not fully, and then take a photo. I can also create a work order directly here if whatever I'm seeing needs tending to. If I don't want to hop in and out of the list, I can simply use the arrows up here to go down a notch. But for now, I'll click back, and you can now see in the icons that we both added a picture and a comment. This is how the red, yellow, green field looks like. You can see that it is mandatory. Let's select green. Take a photo. And comment. All is good. And then go back and continue to fill out our checklist. On the date and time, it automatically takes the date and time, but I can also change it. Let's add a signature. Simply sign it on the screen. And name of signee you can get from clicking Me. And click Save. Now we have a completed checklist. If we want to come back to it later, we can just hit Save. But since we're done, let's click Completed and then Save. And now you can see that our checklist has been filled out with this icon right here. Now let's take a look on how it looks on the web of Dialogs FM. Now we're on the web. This is a new recurring work order called Elevator Car Inspection. The placement of this recurring work order is set to being 3 different elevators on 3 different buildings. But it's the same inspection, and you can see repetition is once a year. To add a checklist to a recurring work order, click the green plus and select Checklists. Then we select Elevator Car Inspection, and then we can determine if we want it required, meaning that they have to be filled out before you can close the work order. And you can also select Create per placement. This means that if we don't have this checked, we will only get 1 checklist covering the 3 different elevators. But if we select this, we will get 3 different checklists, 1 for each elevator. So let's click Add and then Create. Here we can see the work order created from the recurring work order, and inside of it we can see the 3 different placements as well as 3 different checklists, each one representing one elevator. We can then start to fill them out here, and then this works exactly as the same way on the phone. So we add a name of inspector, a date, elevator type, then fill out our checklist. As you can see, now that we are into the data fields, we get the same options of commenting, creating work orders, and adding an attachment. Down here we have to select a color and also add a photo. So I'll add one there. If I were to add a file that was not a photo, it wouldn't be approved. Here I can click Now for the time and date and add a signature and enter my name and then hit Save. Down on Closed, I can select whether or not I'm done yet, but since I am, I'm gonna click Save. And now we can see that one of our checklists have been completed and when it has last been modified. I'm now going to fill out the 2 remaining checklists, and then afterwards we're going to take a look at how the data that we have collected looks. To see the data in our checklists, go to Work Orders and then select Checklists. Here you can see predefined views automatically created, one for each checklist template. If we go to Elevator Car Inspection, you can see the 4 different checklists that we have created and filled out. All of the data filled out into them is available here in the list view. You can open up the checklist like so and see the pictures and comments that we have set onto this. And you can search within the data to get an overall overview of the data that has been filled out inside of the checklists. That's why the possibilities of use of checklists are endless, and the data that can be gathered can be of great value for making decisions in the future. That's all for this video. See you again next time.